Hey, this is Travels with Dottie, Rob here, and I'm going to talk to you about crime in Quartzsite. Especially if you're thinking about going there. Spoiler alert, you have a very slim chance of being the victim of any kind of crime in Quartzsite statistically. And what do I mean by that? And I'm doing this primarily because I did a Google search, just Quartzsite crime, and I'm going to read you and show you on the screen the first thing that came up without any attributions, right? And most of this is actually technically correct, but I'm going to get into that later. With a crime rate of 32 per 1,000 residents, Quartzsite has one of the highest crime rates in America compared to all communities of all sizes, from the smallest towns to the very largest cities. One's chance of becoming a victim of either violent or property crime is 1 in 32, or just about 3%. That sounds horrible, doesn't it? It sounds like it's a lawless land. Well, the one thing that isn't accurate here is the last sentence is one's chance of becoming a victim of either violent or property crime here is 1 in 32. And that is patently false. The math works, because if you take the 77 crimes that were committed in the population of Quartzsite at 2,400, that's probably true. But guess what? If you're coming to Quartzsite, you are likely one of about 1.5 million visitors that come between November and the end of January, and you're not one of the residents. While the math works, it doesn't make any logical sense whatsoever. Think about this. The last period of crime reporting where they get this data, there were 77 crimes. Okay, and if you look at 1.5 million visitors and then calculate your odds as one of those visitors being one of those 77 crimes, the 3% chance, which is, guys, it's a pretty low chance of getting involved in a crime, goes from 3% to 0.00512%. It's infinitesimal. The problem is, with these crime statistics, it's on a per capita basis and it's based on population. And it really doesn't make any sense when you look at crime, especially with an area that has such an enormous influx. And you might say, well, what about other places have tourists? Look at New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. Good point. If you look at those cities, they have 50 million visitors a year. And that is roughly depending on which city, 5 to 7 times the population of those cities, right? And you look at, hey, a big one, Las Vegas. Las Vegas has visitors that are 16 times the population, right? But let's talk about Quartzsite. With 1.5 million visitors on 2,400, it has 625 times the population in visitors. So it really doesn't make any sense that there's a crime problem in Quartzsite. It just defies logic. Now, that doesn't mean you should be carefree and not watch out for yourself and your stuff, especially if you camp alone. There's risks out there, but it's statistically, it's very, very small. The other thing that was disappointing, if you do the same search, Quartzsite crime, on YouTube, you come up with a bunch of YouTube videos that might scare the heck out of you. And again, does crime happen? Absolutely. Does it happen on BLM land sometimes? Yes, it sometimes does. But it is statistically, it's very rare. I can say this with absolute confidence that statistically it's very low. So I discovered, I have very, very smart listeners out there, because I put out a a query that said, what do you believe or think or have heard about QUARTZSITE crime? And there was, I hear it's very high. There are all sorts of options. But bottom line is 78% either said they believed QUARTZSITE had very low crime, or they didn't know one way or the other. And a big chunk was, I don't know. But that piece really tells me about how smart the people that watch this channel are, because absolutely every time the beginning of real knowledge is admitting, I don't know. I didn't know these numbers until I looked. I didn't know any of the information I'm giving you. I didn't know until I did research and looked it up. Now I know. So, which means only 22% of the people responding thought QUARTZSITE was a problem for crime. And I think that's mostly due to search results, which I got in Google, YouTube videos. But if you come to join us in QUARTZSITE, I think statistically your odds are going to be safe. Like anywhere else, be careful, be alert, be vigilant, and you'll be just fine. And I hope this video relaxes you. If you're thinking about coming to QUARTZSITE and you've been a little nervous about crime because of things you've been hearing, I hope this alleviates your concern. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video.